All right, y'all, I'm over here in Washington, D.C. again with Isaac. I don't know if y'all remember, but I interviewed him one time before, and he talked about an organization that he's a part of. First of all, you were born in here, in Prince George County, Maryland, in the Washington, D.C. area.
Yeah, I was born in D.C., but I grew up in PG County, Largo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell everybody about your schooling and everything, and your educational background.
Yes, I went to school in PG, and then I went to college in Baltimore County. I joined the military when I was 18, and that was like my first introduction to like medical stuff. So I joined the DC National Guard's medical team. So I started working with them, and I've been doing that ever since. And yeah, that's basically what it is. Now I'm in grad school, and I run this org.
Okay, where do you go to grad school at?
I go to grad school in Hagerstown, actually.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Tell everybody a little bit about the organization. It's a non-profit organization that you're a part of. What's the name of it, and what do you guys do?
So it's called Goodworks. It's really a movement. We go to communities all across the DMV, and we show people how to save lives. Things like gunshot wounds, stabbing, drug overdoses, how to do CPR. We make it make sense for people. And basically it's like, you know, the world's getting crazy and stuff like that. We want people to know how to save themselves in emergencies. So we make it like really simple, really easy to understand. And yeah, we've been doing that for about a year now. Over about 300 people we've impacted. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
How do you get people involved in it? Like, because I know you deal with mostly like youth.
Yeah.
How do you get them involved in that?
Yeah. So initially, at first we used to partner with like organizations, and that's kind of the thing with nonprofits. Like, as soon as you get categorized as like positive, you lose like 40% of your audience. People aren't really interested. You probably you know that. So
yeah, like, that's how they do on YouTube too.
Yeah,
you know?
So it's like the people who are seeing the most crime in their neighborhoods, seeing the worst stuff, it's kind of hard to get them out. So initially we were partnering with organizations, but now we literally just pull up to like neighborhoods. Because, for example, we were I was in like Southeast last week, and people just sit outside, like get lawn chairs, post up on their block, just be out there for like 3 or 4 hours, and we pull up to them and we say, hey, give me an hour, I'll show you how to use Narcan, how to put on a tourniquet, how to do CPR. And for the most part, they're receptive to it because they're not doing nothing else. And that's how we really been able to like go to communities and make people who are actually bystanders better bystanders. Right.
So this is something good. Y'all need to tune in, because everybody complain about when, you know, a lot of positive stuff not shown, and now he's doing something positive. And so y'all need to tune in and watch. Y'all need to get this video like 1 million views. I know most of the time y'all want somebody to be waving a gun in the air, but you know, he don't do that.
We can wave guns if you want to wave guns. Somebody out here.
Okay, and so how many people, you say you have volunteers work with you?
Yeah, so how it works is if you're like a local medical student, PA student, nursing student, any person that's like health related, or actually anybody who cares about health in their community, we kind of let you know ahead of time, hey, we're going to be in this community at this time. You want to show up and support. And that's basically how we get volunteers, people who are trying to become like healthcare people in their neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Right. So where do you see this going? Like, where do you want to go with this?
Honestly, my goal is, so there's a statistic out that says you're almost 30% more likely to be helped by a bystander if you're in a white community than you are in a Black or Latino community. So my whole goal is to make sure people in our Black community for real know how to help people in emergencies. So I want to be able to go to the worst part of Maryland, the worst part of DC, and then also go to the best parts of Maryland, the best parts of the DMV, and get the same amount of care from a bystander. So making stuff like CPR, Narcan, tourniquets, bleeding control, making that stuff like normal in our community is my ultimate goal. I want to be able to come up to any like random like 14, 15, 16-year-old and be like, do you know what Narcan is? Do you know how to, help somebody if they got shot? I want that to be like normal.
Do you like have an office that you operate out of, anything, or you just go up to people on the street, and have you ever like applied for any funding?
Yeah, so initially when we first started out, it was like a pilot project. Right. We registered and all that stuff, and it's officially a nonprofit, but we didn't want to ask people for money until we got down the process. So we did about like 200 people first. We did about like 7 partnership events, and then we started, like applying for grants, being open about requesting donations and things like that. So as far as like an office space, there's no office space and nothing like that. We reach out to communities who already have something going on. Let's say you're already a nonprofit. We'll say, hey, during one of your meeting times, we'll come in and we'll do a workshop. Or let's say, for example, there's the we were in Berry Farms last week. They had the playoffs or whatever. There's already going to be a ton of people outside. Already going to be an event where there's going to be young people. We pulled up, we set up right there, and people started participating. So that's kind of how we operate.
What's different now, or what direction are you trying to go in now?
Yeah, so like I was saying about, we used to go and we used to have these like workshops in buildings, like communities will have groups already meeting and stuff, and we'll come see them there. But what I learned, like being somebody who's new in like the whole like social impact space, is the government can throw like tons of money into government programs and stuff like that. You buy people, you spend $1 million on books, right?
Right.
If you don't like to read, no one's reading the books, you just wasted $1 million. Right. So for us, it's like we don't throw events, we just attend where people are already going to be at. So like I was saying, there's people who, like when I stay in Northeast now, I go up the street, I go to a corner store that's there, and I see people who've been on that corner store for 3 hours. I come back 3 hours later, I'm like, hey, do y'all want to learn, you know what I'm saying, CPR, or you know, how to put on a tourniquet, how to use Narcan? And they've already been out here all day doing nothing. They're like, you know, why not? So right. I took an approach now where it's like you meet people where they are, and that changes the whole dynamic of the work that we're doing. Because if I put out a flyer and I say, hey, come learn how to save a life, even if it was me, I'm not coming outside to do that. But if I'm outside in the park, or like I'm already in your neighborhood, you sitting outside anyway, it's like, why not? And then 15, 20 minutes in, you see them, you know, participating, you see them asking questions. Next thing you know, they're talking about jobs that they want to do in healthcare. They're asking you, hey, how do I get the certification? Like, it's a whole different approach when you actually just meet people where they are. And that's
actually a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, that you do that. Have you ever got anybody who like didn't want to be bothered with you, told you?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know what's funny? I go out there sometimes and like when I start talking, they think I'm a hood blogger. They think that like I'm here to do like YouTube videos or TikToks, and that kind of automatically softens them up a little bit, because they're like, all right, like he's clearly a civilian, he's not here to do no problem. And then on top of that, like there's like adults out there with them sometimes, like I guess like OGs, and they push them to do it. They're like, y'all might as well learn that shit because y'all already out here. So that's sort of what I'm taking advantage of. It's like I'm doing something positive. So it's like most people aren't deterred by it if I'm in front of them, at least.
Okay. Yeah. So how can the people support your cause or your mission or whatever? Yeah.
I always tell people, like, for the cost of like, I would say donate the cost of like a Chipotle bowl, whatever you buy, you get at Chipotle, donate that. Don't ever donate to us again until you see the work that we've done. Because even if you go to donate on our website or whatever, or Cash App, we'll say, what do you want your donation to go towards? Do you want it to go towards equipment? Do you want it to go towards life-saving kits, like we pass out Narcan, tourniquets, things like that? Do you want it to go to CPR certifications? We certify people, and who we meet, they're like, oh, I want to get a job as this or that. Can I get a CPR certification? We're like, all right, bet. We've already seen you do the skills. We can pay for you to get the online portion done.
Is it mostly, do you offer it to everybody, or is it like, are you specifically talking to younger people, or is anybody
the demographic is the youth. That's like our primary goal, but I mean whoever's outside, whoever's, you know, interested. So we want to make the black community's health literacy increase. That's the whole goal, and I think that's going to make public safety better in our community.
Okay. All right, so y'all support him. You got any additional comments or anything you want to mention?
Nah, man, thank you for the people who, you know, showed me love on the last video. Some people connected me with some other people. We got a few donations, and I appreciate that. That's more than I can ever ask for. So, and
like I said, y'all make sure y'all support him and go on his website and donate and all of that. So
appreciate it.